I've said for many months of this podcast, boys, that Rupert Lowe will be our next PM, and I believe in him massively. I've got a call back from his team. His team are meant to be calling me because I said I want to help with the media and marketing side. About 6 months ago, we've had a few back and forths on email, and they've said about 3 weeks ago they're gonna drop me a call, but they're massively inundated at the moment. So I really want to try and help because Rupert Lowe to me is the leader. He is the guy that will get it done. Reform was the first kind of mover of taking politics out of this unipolar sort of uniparty sort of world that we're in. But Nigel I just don't trust him for what he did to Rupert. And ever since he did that to Rupert, I've backed Rupert. But Rupert didn't have an alliance. But I knew what he was doing. He publicly said he created a movement with Restore Britain so he could get into the accounts. And the Tories helped put him into the accounts department on the accounts committee to scrutinise public finances, obviously the rape gang inquiry and everything else. So he's used his platform for good to steer the political jousting that's happening from this nonsense to more critical things that are actually really affecting people. And now he's gone, right, now we're going to become a party and here's our policy. And his policies are so clear, they're so in depth. He publicizes them online, and it's a critical path for how we can improve things, as opposed to like rhetoric on how we can keep people happy. It's just, here's the bad shit we have to do and the muck we've got to go through to get out of it. And there's no other guy that is that brass tacks, and we need a brass tacks person to fix a bad situation. So he's now set up Restore Britain as a party. They're like, what, 10% in the polls that went out. And I think he's going to win. He is the guy to do it. There isn't anyone that even comes remotely close. Businessman, stern head, no shits given. He's just everything you would want in a leader, not necessarily a politician, but in a leader. And we need a leader right now. So that is, I'll
You
back
don't think
him
it's gonna?
all the way.
You don't think they're going to dilute the votes and give Labour another stab now? Now they've sort of diluted between Conservatives, Restore and Reform.
I don't think so. I think Nigel is going to really suffer now Rupert Lowe has done this. I think watch the demise of the Reform Party because the truth is coming out. And the truth is that this man is the real leader. He's been true to his word. He's got integrity. Nigel and Yusuf, they tried to f*** him. They tried to backstab him. Why? Why did they do that? And why are they bringing in all of these, abdications from?
How did they try and backstab him?
Long story short, and it has been spoken about publicly now. So when Rupert was in Reform, it was clear Rupert was getting a lot of attention from Elon Musk, from leaders just around the world in business, saying that Nigel's not really fit to lead the country and it should be Rupert. That was the kind of insinuation, and that obviously affected Nigel's ego. And then it's what's his name, Nigel's sort of left-hand man, Zia Yusuf. He tried to step in to Rupert's constituency in Great Yarmouth and was trying to make changes there. And Rupert bit back and went, "Don't touch my constituency." And he talked about a podcast recently, and he basically put him in his place. And then Yusuf and Nigel came out the back of that. That was a private meeting. Came out the back and said that Rupert's a rapist. He's tried to attack his staff. He pulled a gun out on Yusuf and all this stuff. So the police raided Rupert's house. All this shit. Complete fallacy, just because they were trying to destroy his reputation and get him removed as an MP because they saw the threat that Rupert was from within. And I'm just like, that's political games that we don't want in a new party. That's the exact shit we want to get away from. And ever since then, I was like, I'm behind Rupert. This guy has been integral and true to his word the whole way through on very controversial topics like immigration and the burqa and all this kind of stuff, and restoring cultural values of the UK that are very clear to British people. So yeah, anyway, that's all I've got to say about it. But what do you guys think? Do you think this could split the vote? Do you think it creates a precarious political landscape for us? What's
that was my biggest nervousness, is that there was just going to dilute too many of the votes and the Labour going to have another stab at this, and that would just be disgusting. So yeah, I hope. I mean, to be honest, behind all the parties, well, I haven't really spent too much time on their policies, really. All I heard was the other day it's going to bring up the death sentence and mass deportations. That was all I took from the policies. But I'll spend some more time reading it. I don't know, Dorian, have you had a look?
Just watch a podcast of Rupert. Just watch any podcast of Rupert Lowe. It's like,
I think as you say, it'll just become too fractious. So they won't, in my opinion, they just won't gather enough support, because people will they're too similar in one way, and it's just not gonna. It's just there's just too many. So the public are just going to default back to what they know, because there's just not going to be enough either way. So that's my opinion.
What do you reckon, Jack?
If I were to have my choice, I'd put Boris and Sunak back in together.
Boris, the guy who let millions of people into our country. You'd let Boris back in?
Well, and Rishi supporting dual
They
focus.
didn't, Ryan, in defense of Jack, they didn't let them into Henley. So
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
fair
true.
enough.
you know,
They're not allowed over the river.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yes, ship them to Wales or
or Darlington.
yeah, or Darling. It's tough because it's a bit like, I feel like our politics for years has been like, if they were all parties, if all parties were people and you were to go to the pub with them, you'd never go because you don't like any of them, but you have to go because someone has to be in charge. So you got to kind of pick the best of the worst bunch. So I think we've been struggling for years, if I'm honest. I mean, if you look at the amount of turnover of people in politics, it's unreal over the last sort of 5 to 8 years. And it shouldn't be that tough. You know, we haven't had a world war. We haven't had famine. We haven't had really, really dire decisions that are controversial. It's just try and fucking run it. Just try and maintain. And all we've been doing is spiraling. So, I mean,
I would say, mate, like, go watch some Rupert Lowe podcasts. It's the best way to just see through the shit of anyone, right? As opposed to like press releases. And he's a guy you would want to go to the pub with. He's a guy you'd trust. He's a guy you'd want to go into business with. This guy's just, he's not a politician. He's a businessman. He's just a straight businessman. He's the Trump of the UK, and he's creating a party of business people. He doesn't want the ex-Tories that screwed us over that Nigel's doing and like bringing them in for some like the credibility play. Like, he just wants business people, thought leaders, people who are going to be pragmatic about the economy, about social values, and take us through to where we need to be. You know, a very conservative type of leader. And honestly, like, you can't not listen to a podcast of his and just be like, this is a straight up guy. Like, whereas Nigel, you can tell he's playing political games whenever he speaks. He's very political, very good at it. Whereas Rupert's not good at it. He's just practical. And we just want someone practical at this point, which is what Trump is, right? He's just a practical person.
But it just comes back into the saying, whether, I don't want to sound defeatist, but the American system is a bit more set up for an individual who is pragmatic to have a lot of control, whereas the system of the UK is centuries old, is very political. You can't really look at even Keir Starmer. He cannot get through his own policies because of his backbenchers. It'll be the same whoever comes into power.
Yeah, but the way you can dethrone that is by the rape gang inquiry and unlocking, you know, all of this shit that's happened throughout the Labour constituencies in the UK, and dismantle those institutions. And that's exactly what Rupert's doing. Is he's with the backing of Elon Musk, by the way. So he's got a war chest to go at in terms of like dealing with the judiciary and any backlash he gets and public support. So I do think this man is setting up an army to take on the state, like a real private sector led army. He's the guy that's doing it, and that's why I back him, because private sector needs to come and fix this shit, not politicians that have failed us for decades now. But we'll see. This year will be quite an important year.